Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel, AmusedJester. My name is Junior, and today on my review table is the Hot Toys MMS770 Batman Returns Batman Deluxe version. I initially did not order the very first version of this one, where it was a 2-pack. It included the Michael Keaton version as Bruce Wayne, but I did not care for that. I just wanted the Batman Returns version, but they did not offer that. So when it came, and I've been kind of regretting it. The one that I wanted, you can see the Batman logo and the frozen Batman logo, that I really wanted was the 1989, and I had that. So getting this would have been a good thing to do then, but I wasn't willing to buy two and pay for a pair, especially if it's a Bruce Wayne, and the likeness for Bruce Wayne wasn't really that good. So when this was offered, I definitely did jump at a chance. Of course, it's more expensive now. I don't believe there's any particular difference between this one or the other one in terms of like better head sculpt for the Batman. Unlike the 1989 Batman reissue that they did, where they completely changed the texture of the figure. Give me 1 second. Where they changed the texture of the surface of the suit in itself, which was I didn't really like. I don't agree with it because it's too heavy-handed. It looked too ugly. The texture basically overshadowed the form of the figure. I think that's why. And plus, I already had the original. What was the reason of me spending any more money than that? That's the reason why I don't really get into these upgraded versions of Iron Man. Yes, sometimes the proportions are good, but then they started changing the scale of the Iron Man so that I believe the older ones were smaller, and I did not agree with that. So anyway, when this one came out, I definitely jumped at the chance. Even though it's a little bit more expensive, I went for the deluxe version, and I can't remember how much it is right now. And so this one comes with, I believe, some sort of, oh yeah, the rooftop base accessory. But I wanted the Michael Keaton headpiece as well. That one seems much better than before. All right, so there's the battering. Oh, it's got actual targeted guys over there. Yeah, so I definitely jumped at the chance. This is my last chance, and I believe, except for the Clooney version, I have all the Batman versions. And the reason why I did not get the Clooney version is because that came out just as I was receiving or reviewing the Val Kilmer Batman, and that thing was such a disappointment in terms of articulation. It's the Batman, the Val Kilmer Batman Hot Toys is literally a rubber statue. That's all it is. It's so awful in the execution of the articulation that yeah, it was so disappointing. And this one, I almost did not want to buy this one because of the Val Kilmer Batman, because I know it's a full rubber suit again, you know, so stupid. Anyway, forgive me I will unbox this in camera, but yeah, here. Can I take this off? Is there any? So we'll just see the figure as it is. So I've been seeing a few reviews on this one, and one of the things that I'm very aware of is the fragility of the rubber suit in itself. Supposedly it's very easy to scratch. There is supposedly a very thin layer of paint on this rubber body that's very easy to scratch. So yeah, we'll have to be very careful with this one, and we'll inspect it immediately for any blemishes on the surface, so that any mar on the surface afterwards is going to be caused by my simple handling of it. And of course the cape is stuck in there. It's just kind of stupid. Okay, so I can already see something here. It's not really a scratch, but oh yeah, it's a scratch already. Look at that. Jeez Louise. I've not even handled that. And at this point, I really don't know if I'm going to complain and return this to Sideshow. I really almost canceled this. I really did. Because I already know it's supposed to be a bad figure. But that's right off of the thing. Like, I did not even handle that part that's coming out of the factory. So supposedly you can just remove this outer skin layering by rubbing it or something, and it will just give you a flat rubber surface. Yeah, it's just. And I don't even know if I do have Clooney on pre-order, or no, on a wait list right now, because I changed my mind and it's like, you know what, that's the last. It's the last of the Batman that I don't have. I have all of the Batmans, and it would be a shame not to have just the one, to be lacking one, which would be Clooney's, just because of the awful quality product that Hot Toys is now, I guess, known for or accepted for. So this might be in underneath the cowl. I might have to take this off. Yeah, see how they did that? There's just no way. You just gotta take that off, unless I suppose you want to rip it. While we have this off, I'm gonna go ahead and further look at this figure. This is like this is gonna be the primary focus of the review, because everything else is just for show. This is an inspection basically. See, now there's another one right there. That's not dirt. Well, yeah, so that is dirt. Okay, good. I'm being very, very careful, just like not scratching, but just getting rid of all this stuff, because I'm almost afraid that my fingernail would be even capable of scratching the surface in this one. I just don't want to deal with the returns at all, so I might just forgive that one, because I'm not really that picky. I know it's there, but it's just, and then there's another one here. So it's like a bubbling that I'm pretty sure that if I were to, that will be the point of where deterioration will occur. Then look at this. Look at that. Jeez. So again, this is basically a paint mishap. So this skin texturing that they did to spray on paint on this rubber is basically did not adhere well, so it's having all these stuff. So these bubbles, it looks small, right? But this is where the point of where if you keep on rubbing at this will just get grow and just deteriorate. The rubber doesn't feel as thick as previously used rubber. So let's see. We'll mess with the articulation while I have this off. There is a ratchet, which is nice, on the shoulder, as you can see. And there's enough. The rubber is not as thick as the one on Kilmer. So here's Kilmer over here. Like, or maybe the body is smaller than the one on Kilmer, because you see how I cannot even move this. And watch, there is no ratchet on the shoulder at all, which is like you can't even move it. And the rubber just feels thicker on Kilmer than this one. Yeah, definitely thinner. And watch that the body underneath it is much thinner than the Kilmer one, which basically means there's enough space in between the rubber and the body that it gives a lot of leeway and movement. It looks like forward and back is just friction, but it's very strong friction. And I would not recommend doing this for a long time with your suit. First off, it's ugly. It doesn't look good. You can see, and I can pretty much say that it will probably tear at that weak texture that's going on the thing. There is a bicep swivel that I can feel. Wow, this thing is really sharp. Be careful with this one. There is a butterfly joint that gives you that much movement. The elbows again is on a friction joint, but very strong friction joint, able to hold the pose because the rubber, I believe, is not as thick. This is almost like a thick fabric material out of rubber is what I would say, rather than an actual rubber piece. I'm not sure if that's making sense, but that's the way it feels like it to me. That's why it's able to hold the pose much easier. And of course, the more you play with the friction joint, the looser it'll probably get. I'm very afraid of removing this right now because I've heard, let me see. So here's the ab movement. That's pretty good. Watch, let me compare that with the Val Kilmer, which you assume would be the same thing. Again, no ratchets. It's capable of moving that, getting that range, but watch, it ain't. It's just like a rubber band. So I'm glad that they incorporated ratchets at this point, which is what they needed to do anyway. Let's see what's going on with the thighs. The ratchets here are a lot more softer rather than the one on the shoulder, which I feel like it should have been reversed. But if you can, yeah, if you can, then reverse the strength between the shoulder and the thigh. But it would be more preferable if you applied the same amount of ratchet on both ones. So at about 45 degree, you're getting a resistance at this point where it will just ratchet down, but at least you can get 45 degrees compared to the Val Kilmer one where, yeah, I mean, there's just no ratchet on the Val Kilmer one. Okay, let's put it that way. Should I bring out, you know what this kind of compares to closest? All right, so this is the Val Kilmer. This is the Michael Keaton Flash Batman suit. Now this is not rubber. This is some sort of fabric that I think they painted the rubber piece on, or some sort of pleather. I don't know how much longer this material will last. As you can see, it's even got that dimple where I have the crotch grabber going on. I've had this in this pose pretty much the entire time I've had him, and wow, see, look at that, nice, very nice ratchets going on the legs, and it almost feels like the same type of material, except this is a little bit more stickier than this one. I never had any problems in terms of bubbling or scratch, and I've never heard of it on this one either. So I'm pretty happy with this piece, and as you can see, the way it's holding up the pose on the shoulder, I can't remember anymore, but I believe these are ratcheted. It does have a thigh twist, but with the suit, it's just going to be resisting. The knees feels like there is very, very soft ratchets. Yeah, you can see the movement. It jerks, so there are ratchets in there. This is another soft rubber piece on the shoes, and it's one piece. which I feel isn't really necessary because there's a natural cut here that they could have taken advantage of. It does still look like a Nike boot, but it doesn't have the Nike swoosh. Quite a bit of a resistance going down because it's just one piece rubber. So it's possibly there, not a lot of movement on the ankle. So, and it feels like the body itself is not centered. I don't think that's because of my manipulations, but alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove this now. It's just so. The thing of it is that for, I believe this is probably over $300, right? When you're paying $300 on a toy, yes, you do expect quality and everything. You want it almost not perfect, but like close enough, or durability. You want to enjoy the piece, right? Right now, my fear of destroying the surface of this thing is so big, I don't even know if that's a scratch or not, that it's just really, really hampering my enjoyment of the piece. Now, you, like I said, the Keaton Batman from the Flash movie is has been on that pose ever since I got it, which was probably over a year ago now. And I don't really move my Hot Toys figures a lot. So more than likely, when I pose this, when I find something good on the pose, I'll leave it there. But so look at, see how that sharp edge right there? That's gonna gouge. See, there's another one right there. It's flashing. It's gonna gouge that surface for sure. I wish I could remove this belt and then I can kind of sand those areas really quickly, but I don't think it's possible. I'm really afraid even just to remove this protection, because it doesn't seem like there's a safe way of doing it. Here's a tape. Here we go. So I'm gonna move this up really slowly. It doesn't seem that sharp, the edge, but I've heard that's where they usually get their scratches from. I'm talking about the edge underneath there. So I'm inspecting the area right underneath where the belt should be. It seems okay right now. So I'm gonna be very, very careful, because this does not look right to me. Hold on a second. I'm also noticing that in the movie, this one seems more gold than yellow. So I want this to be a little bit lower, like it should be covering this part, but the thigh is pretty high. So I don't know what the solution is. I think this is too high. And I also don't like the fact that it's bunching up like that. Like when I put the arms down, look at how much this part is bunching. Like that. I don't like that. Like, this was molded not with the arms down like this. More likely, this was molded in this. Like, it was sculpted like this and then casted and everything. Unlike the Val Kilmer one, this is molded in this position. And what happens is when you move it out, then you start doing the deformation on the costume. But the way it's looking right now, because of the looseness of the costume on the body, it feels so oversized, if that makes sense. Let's see. While I have the cloth out of the figure, I guess we can look at it. It's a nice texture, double-sided, and then this side looks really awful. This is the same issue that I had with the Val Kilmer Flashpoint Batman, where you have this nice surface on the outside, but the inside looks awful. This is, here it is, see? And then now look at this one. Look, they didn't even finish bothering that. I'm like, why? That's quality. That's not quality. That's more like it's good enough. And that's what I'm feeling coming out of this Hot Toys experience. Alright, so what came with the deluxe version? This is one of the corners of the base.
What deluxe version are you asking about?
Alexa, so weird. It's like I didn't even mention her name, so she's now constantly listening now, which I don't like. This is a replacement, if you prefer the Catwoman head at the corner of that base. I feel like this is too gimmicky anyway. I did not buy this for the base. In fact, with all my Hot Toys, I never use the base, the deluxe bases on them. This is the Batman cowl with a torn mask when he rips it off his own mask and reveals to Catwoman who he is. Very nice, sharp images of the Bat logo. And this is the broken off part of the mask. Now, I wonder if it aligns. It does. See, it does align the tear, making it believable that it's actually from the same piece. That's pretty cool. I didn't even look at the Batman head yet. Here's one of the mouth plates. It's an open mouth. It looks like Michael Keaton, so that's pretty good. And then the pursed mouth. Again, it looks like Michael Keaton for just the lower face plate like this to be able to capture his look. That's pretty cool. I apologize for the dirty fingernails. I believe I was gluing my Millennium Falcon that I was building. So here is the Michael Keaton face. Now I'm getting a fisheye lens effect as I'm getting it closer to the camera. Let me look at this in hand. I will say that in hand, this is a very close look to Michael Keaton. The difficulty that I'm observing when you're doing these 1/6 scale portrait likenesses is the hair often acts as a deterrent, like something as a negative, because I feel like if this guy were completely bald, you would see the likeness to Michael Keaton more. I would say the likeness is probably around 85 to 90% on Michael Keaton. It's just the fact that the hair is such a solid piece of sculpture. It's good. It's good in terms of displaying hair, but you know it's a solid piece, not like real hair. And that kind of detracts from the strength of this sculpt. I believe it's pretty good. But like I said, I think that the hair is kind of distracting a little bit. Yeah, like in hand, this it looks really, really good. I think without the hair, it might be like 95% there. There's just something about maybe the jowl of this one. I don't know. It's very, very close. It's just the hair is throwing me off. All right, what else? The stand. Okay. Now we can go ahead and remove this. Oh, actual base. So here's the actual base with some sort of flocking going on. Not really flocking, but speckling to indicate snow and whatever. I believe this will just slot in. Yep. Same thing as this one. Yep. So I don't know why there's another one here. It might be if you wanted to display him standing, you can put this here at the back. But if you want him to display him flying off the edge, then you can put this one forward. That's the only thing I can think of. It would have been nice to have like covers in this one to maintain the illusion rather than having a hole up in the front. But who's going to be looking at the base on top view, right? Like, who cares about the base at this point? Right, what else is in here? All right, so this is the lower layer. What appears to be some sort of, this is probably for the back. back of the cowl when you're replacing the cape, and then this one is magnetic. Oh wait, look at that. So this one goes in here. Interesting. This magnetizes itself. And I forgot to mention you do have extra pegs and something like this. I don't know what this is, but it's hard. Yeah, I don't think it's important enough for me to take that off. And then you have the spread out cape when he's flying off of the building. So what is this cape? Well, it's not articulated. It's fixed. Basically plugs into the back, it looks like. And it's not wired, or I should say it's not a wire that you can form or anything. It is a very solid wire. It's not a bendable wire. It's fixed, but it's basically, this is solid plastic wire. Every line has a wire, it looks like. So I am definitely interested in displaying this in flying form. Let me look at the instructions very briefly, because I did not look at any previews or reviews concerning how to put on the cape. It does have movable eyes. I did check this one, which is pretty good. You really can't tell where the seam line on the hairpiece is, and there you go. So it, yeah, see, having removed that, you really couldn't tell. I don't really remove eyes when it comes to, you know, that looks good enough right now, so it's centered enough. And yeah, it's very seamless. I wouldn't be able to tell you where the seam is without looking at it, right? I mean, like, yeah, it's really well done. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and take off the head again. I'm not gonna hold it by the belt because I know if I make a wrong move, it'll do something stupid. I will hold it in the abdomen. So, and even with that, honestly, I'm kind of afraid. All right, so the way it seems to be done is, I think maybe I'll do it this way around. The problem is, like, there you go, it snaps better. It's better to snap it in the back and get everything situated in the back here. That would put everything in line, and then hopefully everything should just line up. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way of doing this. Squeeze it a little bit to make sure it's all nice and set. And apparently what you do is you make sure, oh, the thing came off. Interesting. So it's already magnetizing to the back of Batman, and I don't know if this is supposed to be underneath here or not. I'm gonna try to look. See, look at how much resistance I'm getting off of this. I am right though, because you're supposed to hook it to this wall socket. So just kind of like that. And then what I did is I'm gonna go ahead and remove the actual socket thing, whatever this thing is, and plug it onto that stupid ball joint. Now it's on. Now all I have to deal with is the head, which I feel would be easier. Now the other thing too is I'm trying to place it, because it feels like this is supposed to do it like this, and then kind of move the bat symbol and these two spines underneath here, like so. Okay, now push it down, and there should be a click. Hold on a second. Push it down some more and you'll hear a click. I feel like that's the best way of putting it. See now? See how I said the cowl tick should be underneath here? So, and it looks better. I definitely can tell you that it's secure in there because that piece of cloth is underneath the ball peg, and that ball peg is basically held in by the clear peg, square peg, and then you put in, it's like this is not gonna move. This is basically as secure as possible, and then you want to have it looking like this on the back. All right, so let me change camera positions and let's see and pose it a little bit. So before I repose the camera, I needed to look at some reference pictures, and yes, this in the official Hot Toys images, this is below, it's situated down here. It is way too high for my liking, to be honest, and I just don't see how to bring it down without, there's just not enough clearance because the hips are too wide compared to the belt. It needs to be wider, and so I let me look at some more videos and see how they have it posed and what other reviewers are saying about placing the belt. So I've looked at some more YouTube reviews, and unfortunately most of them they don't really handle the figure. You know what I mean? It's like they're looking, when they're posing it, it's already posed, and they're not handling it in terms of like, how did they bring this down? The only person I've seen is Mr. Collection Ventures, and you can see on some of those videos where you have damage on here, it directly correlates to the position of these two belts, because you know what happens when they're placing this down lower and lower, it's gonna scratch. Look, mine is already like hitting right there. It's literally touching the fabric already. If I push this down anymore, it's gonna gouge in. Knowing how fragile the surface of this is, it's gonna gouge in. And it's not like I have space. You can't tell because this thing is so tight now, but there really is not a lot of space when it comes to this thing. Maybe I can't. Look, you just can't. You cannot bring this down without squeezing it down onto the leg thighs, and that's gonna damage the suit. This should have been. And the weird thing is, like, when you look at it right now, right, it's like really thin in this area, wide. I don't know how to fix it. I don't want to scratch this stupid uniform, so I'm gonna leave it there for now. We'll pose it a little bit to show that it's about ready to take off or whatever. I'm not gonna replace the hands as well. Oh, just sorry. This is gonna be a very careful movement of this piece because it is just, I want it to last as long as possible, and at this point I know it's like really fragile as far as I'm concerned. So let me pose it a little bit, and then let me get the rest of the Batman out. Alright, so I'm just gonna hold it in my hand, and you know what? It's slightly shorter than the original 1989 Batman. Yes, that's the original 1989 Batman. Yeah, it's slightly shorter, but maybe like an eye length shorter. And unfortunately, the peg on my 1989 is now deteriorated, but you know, I'm not moving it or anything like that. See, look at the belt seems, oh my god, doesn't he look squat to you guys compared to the 1989 Batman? Like, the waist seems too thin. The belt, now that I've noticed it, actually is lower than my 1989 Batman. Even though it's not in place, it should be lower still, because you're not supposed to see this pattern over here. Yeah, look, just the bat symbol level, this one's lower. This is kind of disappointing. And then Looking at the wing spread, as you can see, it's a bigger wingspan than the Flash Batman. I actually love that Flash Batman. It's got articulation. It's held up pretty well. I don't think it's rubber, but I do think it's rubber painted in terms of the surface. I really like the fabric that they use in that one. It looks like rubber, but it's not. I don't feel that it is. I feel it's actual fabric. It will degrade as well too, but I feel like it have more movement. And also notice as I move the original Batman over here, look at how the arm is creasing as I move it up compared to this one, right? This one looks more natural to me. That's why I like it better, because it's fabric in a way, you know. This one is it's not, and you can even see the stitching over there. So it's real fabric. This one is just rubber. What really makes me mad is if they're able to do this with this figure, why go back in terms of technology and do it with this one? You get the same look. You get the same look. I don't understand. If you can get that kind of sculpture detail on fabric, why don't you apply it with this one? This is just going backwards in terms of your capability. Yeah. Anyway, where's the rest of the Batman? So there's Kilmer Batman, very, very tall. Yep. There's Adam West Batman. He's not bad. Honestly, I feel like I don't know how much more taller Adam West is to Michael Keaton, but I'm gonna like suspend my belief in this way. Suspend my disbelief because I want my Batman to be a little bit around the same height. I don't like the fact that Val Kilmer's Batman is way too much taller compared to the rest of them. But that kind of works for me. Let's see. Let's get out Christian Bale Batman Panther suit. I apologize for the cobwebs and everything. All right, so that's Christian Bale Batman Panther suit. That's still good. I still think he's way too small. Like this is kind of good. But look at how much more taller Kilmer is. Remember, he's not on the post or stand. That's just stupid now. Oh my God, no way. Look at how much more taller Robert Pattinson's Batman is. Ugh. That is not good. That's really ugly. Like, I know different actors, different Batman, but like, come on. Anyway, as for the last Batman, I want to put out the version 2 Batfleck, and he's like just towering over everybody. I have version 1, but I don't want to reach up and grab him. The massiveness of the Batman, Affleck Batman is good. That's the way I really identify him as. He's like a brute Batman. But the height just kills me. Like Hot Toys, this is your company. Why is it so difficult to get everything on the same scale? You know what I mean? It's like it's the digital world. It's not like you're sculpting this in hand anymore. You can sculpt it digitally, arrange the height and everything. So why can't you just normalize a standard height? I don't need it to be like specific. You're like, I don't want to see my Batman Keaton. I don't want to destroy the reality of the imagination of Batman Keaton being a tall, brooding Dark Knight, and be shown as like, well, Keaton is really small. And so I don't want to know that. You know what I mean? I want my Batman to be of the same level. It's a shame that only Pattinson, Batfleck, and Val Kilmer are around the same size. Not even Batman. Christian Bale. It's kind of weird. Like, if I were to remove the really tall ones and just like look, isn't that more cohesive? At least I think so. Anyway, I'm probably going to display it very much like the way it is right now. I like the widespread Batman. I honestly, I don't even know what to do with this Batman. Um, I One of the reasons why I was hesitating getting is I just don't have any more room for Batman anymore. There's the other reason too. I'm not sure if I want Clooney Batman anyway, but he will just complete the whole thing. And I'm gonna have to rearrange my display. My display is a mess right now. This whole collection room is a mess right now, to be honest. That needs to be cleaned up. But yeah. Anyway, so what are my final thoughts on this Batman over here? Let me remove Adam West Batman and let remove Batman Keaton over here while we look at him one last time and everything. It's a disappointment. But I needed to have him just to complete. You know what? I need to put on the '89 Batman just to complete Batman as portrayed by Keaton. You can see the movement between these three, which I like. I would have liked to have gotten all the versions of the Batman as shown in the Flash movie, but you know, anyway, disappointment. For one thing, the one that really stands out is the use of whatever coating they did on this rubber costume. It's just stupid. It's just the fact that I'm terrified of handling this. Every time I feel like that with a toy, it's already going down in value. The fact that it's looks so much more thinner than the original 1989 Batman. There's just something about, look, I just don't like that. Look, I just don't like that. Look on the torso. You know what I mean? And the thing of it is, like, if they can do this technology, why go back a step? Why go back a step? Why are you moving backwards? When you should be moving forwards. You should be improving instead of going back to the old broken formula. So I don't like the coating on the suit. The look of the figure with this thing is ugly. The going back in use of technology, use of fabric doesn't make sense to me. The things that I like on this one is obviously it's just I like having a widespread Batman with the wings. I like finally completing all the versions of Michael Keaton in the Batman suit as shown in the movie as he's wearing it. I finally have a Batman Returns figure. The ratchet joints on the joints are much stronger, which I like. And that's basically it. So what would I, you know what? I would value this at 8. I don't know why. The number just popped up in my head right now. I'm keeping it because I have to have him represented in my line. It's expensive for what I paid for. The deluxe I didn't really need, but I wanted the Michael Keaton head sculpt, which is pretty good. If I was just to do the head sculpt of Michael Keaton would be a 12. The heads, you know, that's what I'll do. Like the head sculpt of the Batman Returns is a 12. The sculpture of the costume is ugly. It's just, yeah. I just feel like the value of this one is an 8. You need to have them, yes. Did I get what I was expecting? Which would have been a 10, but I lowered it down to a 9 because, you know, knowing it's gonna get damaged, I just did not like it. But I felt like I was compelled to get it, so it's a 9. And bringing down another point to an 8 because it's shorter than the 1989 Batman and this narrow waist, which is just ridiculous. So I'm gonna give it a value of 8 for a Hot Toys figure. This is really, really a shameful product quality for a figure, for a company that's been on for the longest time now, who survived everything, and being challenged by the likes of Blitzway and InArt and other third-party companies. That this is a third-party product. Other companies are doing much better than what this one can do. That's what I'm thinking. But yeah. Anyway, that's it for my review of the Hot Toys Batman Returns MMS770. Get it if you want a Batman Keaton figure that from the Batman Returns, because it's the only one available to us. What can I say? It's the only one available to us. You know, we don't have a choice if you want it. Other than that, it's kind of like a very disappointing figure. For the price that you're paying for, this is probably, I feel like this, if this had been like a $200, $250 price toy, then maybe. I don't care about the stand. I don't need that one. I just need this one, the headpiece of Michael Keaton, the torn away cowl, the wings, and all that stuff. If those had been maintained, the lower price, then this would have been 10 for me rather than an 8. But that's it for my review of it. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you guys in my next review. I know this has been a long review, but that's the way it is. Thank you and goodbye.